Hi everyone. Let's get right into episode 3, which basically part 2 about law. Just some thoughts about law. Man-made law still, and this one is subtitled Playing God. I mean, many people will find the notion of a bearded man in the sky who created this world, set its laws, and will punish you for breaking them ridiculous. Now, I find the notion of a bearded sky daddy ridiculous. But I am convinced that this place has been intelligently designed. I know, I don't know, you know. And I won't make any more attempts than that, you know. There's a reason God is also referred to as that which cannot be named, because it would be weird to me if we could put a finger on what God is. Anyway, but I am convinced this place has been intelligently designed for two reasons. One being that intelligence exists, and consciousness, you know. And we will explore, just maybe talk a bit about that, like, in another episode. Oh no, let's talk about it now. I mean, you know, the notion that something intelligent could come from something dead is preposterous. It's preposterous. Consciousness. For something dead, well, first from nothing to become something, and then from that dead something to become some living something, and from that living something to become, you know, intelligence. That to me is just a stretch. I cannot, with my intelligent mind, I cannot take that leap of faith. And the other reason I believe it's been intelligently designed is that this place is governed by laws. It's probably the far better proof. And you have no problem convincing people of the physical laws that govern this world. Let's first, you know, stick with those physical ones, because they exemplify something very crucial about a true law, which is that you can't get around it. Like, the word law literally means that which is laid out, set, fixed. There's no way around the law, by definition. So it's another reason why man-made laws don't really qualify as laws, because you can skirt around them, you can trick them. But per definition, a law is that which is fixed, immovable, and you can't cheat it, you can't break it without suffering the consequences. That is very crucial to understand about laws. Now, everybody can prove that by going through some of the physical laws and playing through what happens if you break them. You know, if you jump off a cliff high enough, you die. If you put your hand in the fire, suffer the conflict. You'll always get burned. No judge, jury, or executioner required. Just like there are laws governing the physical reality, there are laws governing the metaphysical reality of in nature. They are as valid and unbreakable as the physical laws. They're simply covering another sphere of existence, or plane of existence, how would we put it? The metaphysical one, or the spiritual one. I like to call it the spiritual one. But I don't like to use that term too often, because, you know, people always think about the bearded sky daddy when they hear spiritual, and that's not what I mean. I mean the true connectedness to nature. So, like the physical laws, these spiritual laws, or you could call them moral laws, you know, other cultures have called them karmic laws. If you're a religious person, call them God's laws. It is the which goes around, comes around laws. And these laws can also be understood and discovered also by applying and using the scientific method of testing, observing, repeating. Testing, observing, repeating. And drawing conclusions from it. It's obviously a bit harder to discover those laws, because it's not that the whole punishment for breaking them scenario is instant. I mean, you will get punished, but it might only play out later in your life. And I know this sounds a bit abstract maybe to some of you more left-brain individuals. However, you can discover these laws by, starting to make changes in your life. That's how I discovered them, by becoming a better person, a more moral person, and suddenly having, opportunities and open up and just problem solve by doing that. It's a very individual experience, but if you listen to people that understand natural law, and at this point I need to point you towards Mark Passio, I should have done it much earlier, please forgive me for that, but Mark Passio is the definite authority on natural law. I've never seen anybody break it down more eloquently and understandable than him. So everybody check out Mark Passio's Natural Law Seminar on YouTube. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen on YouTube, period. But what I want to say, so you can discover them. You just have to, make some changes first to your life, like change the behavior to see how that affects other things. Now, remember our desires from episode 1? Like, our desires, they first make themselves known metaphysically, right? In our head, it's something we want, and we need to take action in order to fulfill our desires. There are laws governing this aspect of existence. There's a law governing the golden rule. Remember how we argued in episode 1 that the fact we exist, plus our desires, coupled with the fact that other human beings exist and have desires as well, sets the entire framework of what constitutes a moral action and an immoral action. Again, watch episode 1 if you forgot. Well, the golden rule is actually the golden law, and like any law, if you break it, you will suffer the consequences. We are punished for breaking the moral laws of nature. No judge, jury, or execution is necessary. It shouldn't come as a surprise that the most ruthless persons are clearly unhappy because they are suffering the consequences of their behavior, which is characterized by a complete disregard for other people's existence. Or what about the veterans that return from war traumatized? You hear the explanation a lot that they've seen unspeakable horrors, and that's what traumatized them. But what about the unspeakable horror they committed? Killing another human being. That will not leave you unaffected. It will deeply affect you, torture and haunt you unless you had a very good reason to kill, and the only good reason to kill I can think of is, protecting your own life by being, attacked by somebody else who breaks a law against you. But what about the man or woman who constantly lie to each other, in a relationship and wonder why it crumbles? That's a less drastic example. It's pretty obvious that our behaviors have consequences as well. And I call this chapter Playing God for a reason, and that is because all the people that reject the idea that there could be an inherent right and wrong built into nature and inherent consequences for breaking them, they have, because the notion that somebody created this place is so ridiculous, then why is it so not ridiculous to appoint men to write laws that then bind you, and that you will then suffer the consequences if you break them? Like, clearly you're admitting by that step that you understand that there is such a thing as right and wrong inherent to nature. Otherwise, how would you trust man to find it? So to me, it's just this adamant refusal to acknowledge that there might be a higher authority than man. The other thing is just men wanting to play God. There's deep satisfaction a lot of psychopaths get out of controlling others. And if you think you can control another human being, then you need to rethink.